The Alpha Sessions with Ron Laver.
This is the Alpha Sessions. My name's Ron Laver, and with me in the studio today, I've got Jenem.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good, that's what we like to hear. You're originally from the northwest of England, from the Manchester area, I believe.
Yes, I am.
Are you now living in London?
So I moved down to London at the start of September I moved down to
Right.
London. So yeah, been down here now for a little while.
Why the move? Was it...
Well, I always knew I wanted to move to London. I think for pop music, which is the style of music that really I'm in, is like commercial pop more than anything else. I think London is the place to be. I just think there's more opportunities down here. I love Manchester. It's got a good music scene, but equally, I think London for me was just where I wanted to be. And also the city. I love the city. I think there's just so much going on.
How do you find, you mentioned that Manchester is good, and I should imagine it would be. You know, it's got quite a musical heritage. How different do you find it in London performing, but are you busk and also, you perform in gigs and that? Is there a difference in the audiences? I
don't think it's necessarily the audiences. I think the difference is because London's so much bigger. There's just so many, like every night. Manchester, there's open mics every night, but there's maybe one or two. London, there's at least 5 or 6. And then in London, there's all the different scenes. You've got more of the pop stuff. You've got more of the rock. You've got like all the different scenes are here. Whereas Manchester, I think, is slightly more focused. I think the Manchester sound still prevails up there a little bit, which is a good thing. Yeah. But it also there's more of that than maybe other things. There's other things as well, but not so much.
But there's, it's, as you say, London, you can hear most nights of the week any type of music, can't you?
Exactly.
Live music.
And there's plenty of venues as well.
Okay, so when did you start? When did you start singing? I guess as a youngster.
I mean, I guess I sang when I was quite little. When I was about maybe 6 or 7. I used to sing in the car a bit, but that wasn't really that was just kind of where it started off with me just singing along to songs. And then when I was about, I think it must have been about 10 or 11, so the last year of primary school, I picked up the guitar and they were doing lessons in school. And from that, because I was playing guitar, I started singing. I just think it naturally happened that playing guitar meant I started singing so that I could sing some of the songs I was playing as well.
And what about going on to performing in front of audience? Did you start with busking?
Almost, yeah. I think the first live performance, one of the first things I did was actually with a friend of mine, a talent competition on a holiday that we were on, and we won the competition. So that was an exciting moment. And we've been practicing beforehand. I remember singing I'm Yours by Jason Mraz. It was a great, great little moment. But then after that, I went on to do some busking. I did some busking for charity actually first. That was my first busking session when I was about 13 or 14, I think. And then after that I started doing more busking, more gigs, and just built from there.
So you've had quite a wide bit of experience then, busking and performing. Any sort of weird experiences?
I think there's been plenty of weird ones. Thinking about what comes to mind, let me think, what's the weird? I mean, one of the weird ones was probably wait, let me think. I mean, the weirdest one probably actually was the O2 Academy in Leeds, because that was an amazing venue. But being actually, it was part of a rock competition, and I'm not really a rock act, and it wasn't framed as a rock competition, but most of the acts in there who got through to the final were more rockers, and there was a screamo act on first, and then I come on the stage just with my guitar and singing this pretty little acoustic number. So that was the most incredible experience, but very weird.
How did the crowd take to you? Was that...
I think they warmed to me pretty well. I think because I was young as well at the time, people were
they were kind.
They were kind as well, yeah. And honestly, I have to say that was one of the coolest experiences I've had. But I think busking has provided some very, interesting scenarios over the years. Been given some weird and wonderful things whilst I've been playing.
What sort of things?
Nice things. I think the coolest one was Hotel Chocolat was behind me in one of the stations, and then afterwards they came out with this big bag of chocolates, and we're here you go, have some chocolate, which was pretty cool.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
An apple, I've had some Coke, the drink, I've had, what else have I had? I got given some flowers the other day.
Oh, that's nice.
That was very nice.
Was it a young man?
It wasn't. That would have been my preference now. It was this older gentleman in a full suit gave me some sunflowers, which was amazing. And then I realised I'd have to try and get that home.
Yeah,
and
with your guitar.
With a guitar, a bag and my mic stand and everything.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is going to be a fun fun journey here. But they made them home, I got them home. They looked very nice
That's
in the
great.
kitchen.
That must be quite rewarding when people, all right, people throw money in your bag.
Yeah.
But it must be quite rewarding when people actually go out of their way to bring you something, and hand it to you.
It is quite amazing. I think the flowers, that was a first, like a full bunch of flowers. I've been given a rose once before that, but a full set of flowers was quite something.
So where then you've been in London, what, a couple of months now, 2 months? Have you got a favourite busking venue in London?
A lot of the busking I do is through Busking London. This awesome group of people who allow me to play at like the station, so at Euston Station, King's Cross. And my favourite spot there is probably Euston. Euston Station is always a good one. Other than that, I like Waterloo as well.
So the Busking London, then they sort of control those busking areas in the stations, and
So
I knew you couldn't just turn up, but there's an organisation, is there?
So they're called Busking London. They do lots of different things, but they run a scheme with Network Rail, which I don't think it's open at the moment, or it may be, but it opens and closes throughout the year for people to apply. And then once you're on that, then you can sign up for slots in advance, and so it kind of when you're playing.
Yeah,
which is good.
and that's and I guess it's quite good to be included on that. The fact that you got on it, I imagine there's a lot more people would like to be doing it than they've got spaces for. So
well, I think there's quite a lot of people on the scheme now, so now getting on it now as well. Yeah.
Okay, can I ask you about your name?
Go for it. What would you like to know?
Well, just
where it comes from.
Yeah, where it comes from, because or is it actually your name, Jenem?
So I feel like I wish I had a cooler story, and I should make up a cooler story. But in actual fact, my first name is Jennifer, my middle name is Emma, and quite some time ago, I actually used to be Miss Jenem when I first started out. I didn't get married. I just dropped the Miss because I didn't like the Miss.
Hey.
But it just kind of stuck with me. People at college started calling me Jenem occasionally, so I was like, I'm going to carry the name forward.
It's a cool enough name, I think. It's.
I'd say it's like Eminem, but not quite as cool.
So you've got a single out at the moment called Skyline.
Yes. Which
you're going to sing for us today. Tell me about what's the story behind that.
So I actually first came up with, the title. I started with the title. I was walking on my way to university, and there's a building called the Skyline building. So I studied in Leeds, and it was right by where my campus was. And I was just like, the word Skyline, I could really write a song that got me thinking about what the changing landscape of a skyline. And I just started writing down lyrics first off, and got the chorus lyric of "I'm going to keep on growing with the skyline." And built a whole song around it. I was thinking about the fact that we're all constantly growing and changing in the same way the skyline does, so it kind of reflects that. And then I started putting some chords to it and kind of built it from there, really. Started out slow and started rising, shaping my horizons. Started out low and started climbing, carving my own island. New York to Vegas, I watch from a distance the speed that they're changing. Oh, I'll be no different. Oh, I'm gonna keep on growing with the skyline, building every time that I'm in the dark, lighting up the streets in the nighttime, one step closer to the stars, building up, I'm gonna keep building up.
gonna keep on building up. Oh, I'm gonna keep pushing past clouds to see the whole town, this view from above. Pushing me around, they try to knock me down, but they'll never do enough. 'Cause I've got a picture, it's not yet completed, but I see the future take shape every evening. Oh, I'm gonna keep on growing with the skyline, building every time that I'm in the dark, lighting up the streets in the nighttime, one step closer to the stars, building up. Said I'm gonna keep on building up, building up. I'm gonna keep on building up. Said I'm gonna keep, oh, I'm gonna keep growing. Oh, nothing's holding me back. Said I'm gonna keep on growing. Oh, higher, higher, moving so fast. I'm gonna keep on growing with the skyline, building every time that I'm in the dark, lighting up the streets in the nighttime, one step closer to the stars, building up. Oh, I'm gonna keep on building up. Oh, I'm gonna keep on building up. Oh, I'm gonna keep. I'm gonna keep on growing with the skyline, building every time that I'm in the dark, lighting up the streets in the nighttime, one step closer to the stars.
The Alpha Sessions with Ron Laver.
I can see a lot of singers, and maybe you do it as well, write about their experiences of life and you know, love and things like that, and falling in and out of love.
Yeah.
But to sort of just see something like the Skyline and think, oh, I'll write a song about that. I mean, does that come easy to you, or?
I'd say it comes fairly easy. I think I do write about my own experiences, and like a lot of the stuff that I've been writing more recently has been that. But starting out, when I first started writing, I was about 14, 15. I had experiences, but like I didn't have enough to write about that. If I was just going to write about myself all the time, they probably wouldn't be very interesting songs. So I kind of always started out writing about other topics. In fact, the first song I released was called Out Here when I was 15. And that was a song I'd noticed on my way to school. There was a lot of homeless people in Manchester. And it was kind of like from the perspective of a homeless person, like, and I did that one for charity. So it's kind of like I started out writing songs about other, topics that aren't just about my personal experiences. So it's kind of been like that.
That seems quite forward-thinking for a young girl, say 40. You said you're 14.
Yeah.
Sort of see that sort of thing and say, let's put this in a song.
I think it was kind of like my way of like, I'm not an emotional person, but I think if I see something that I have thoughts on or I just want to reflect on, I'll turn that into a song. And so that was kind of at the time, I guess, my way of putting out what I was thinking and how I felt about seeing that.
So is that your sort of regular process for writing a song? Finding a subject, seeing something, thinking about something, and then finding some words, and is that the way it always happens, or does it vary?
I think it varies a little. I think I often start with titles. I think that kind of, or I think recently I've been trying out like doing different things just to see how things work. But often I'll start with a title because I think that gives me the overall like idea and concept for a song, or like just a line of lyric. And then sometimes I'll start with chords though. Sometimes I'll just be playing around and get like a little chord sequence going. And then for Let Myself Go, the single before Skyline, that one was a whole different. Well, it wasn't really a whole different process, but I literally sat down at the piano, and it sounds a bit kind of like, it was surreal for me because I've never had this before, but I literally just started playing chords and singing words, and it kind of felt like the song wrote itself. Which...
I'm familiar with that song. Was that a sort of autobiographical? Because it seemed to be about a young girl saying, I've always wanted to do this, but people keep knocking me back, and now I've decided, right, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, that was definitely somewhat that. I went to a jam night the night before, and I've always loved rap music and occasionally like to do a little bit of rap. And but I would probably never get up at something like and just do like a full-on rap and things like that, because it's always like, I'm not really a rapper. But my friend was there and she was like, go on, there's a live band, they're going to jam, you just go and like deliver your rap over the band and go have some fun. So I got up, did this little 16 bar thing and had like the best time. Like, I hadn't felt the adrenaline rush that gave me was incredible. And so the next day I was just like, the freedom of that feeling was kind of where the inspiration started for that.
So was that a turning point in your, was it that big, or am I making too much of it?
Yeah, I guess the turning point was brought me back to the childhood not caring what people think anymore. I think maybe for a short time there was like a year or two where I started caring a little bit more, and then that was like, why have you started caring now? Like, you never used to care. So that's really good at a young age, because you're absolutely right. When you're a kid, it's just all about you, isn't it? Yeah, exactly.
And then you're conscious of what other people think, and that's when you start thinking, oh well, maybe I withdraw a little bit. But that's good that you found that quite early and said, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do my own thing. And
well, I think studying music is great, but I also think, like, I was finding, because I'm studying music and people are obviously criticising your work and stuff, you've got to be able to like use the criticism to benefit you and like use their advice, but also not let it get to the point where you're second guessing everything, because instinct is where songwriting begins and really ultimately should end.
Absolutely. Well, and I think I have to say, what I've heard, you're going in the right direction as well.
Thank you.
Can I just ask you then, do you get nervous when you're gigging? Before, after, during? The
majority of the time, no. But I think occasionally I get nervous, and sometimes it's the most unexpected, like gigs that I'd imagine I wouldn't get nervous at all. I'll just for some reason be a bit nervous. But I think at the start, when I was a lot younger and playing, I used to be quite nervous. I think now, because I've played like quite a lot of gigs.
You're an old hand.
Well, I won't go that far, but I think I'm kind of used to the stage. I actually feel like the stage is where I feel most comfortable, if anything. Do
you enjoy the process of recording?
Yeah. I love for recording stuff. I love getting in the studio and working with someone. I think the exciting bit is when you're working with someone else, bringing the vision to life, and then you get it to the point where it's like, now it's sounding like what I imagined. Then that's when it's amazing.
Because on your recorded music, of course, you got the ability to add quite a richer sound, haven't you?
Exactly. It's the more instruments.
Yeah. And it's funny because I really like listening to acoustic music, and sometimes I'm disappointed when I hear the single, because it's like I know the song and I've heard it acoustically, and then it's like that voice gets lost in amongst all the. But I guess for you, that's an exciting thing to go through, and seeing what you can build round. Basically your voice, what would normally be your voice and your guitar.
Yeah, I think I always love performing like voice and guitar, but equally, I think that's the excitement with the studio is like, especially actually layering vocals. I think like that's probably my absolute favourite thing, is because a lot of the tracks that I've done, even if you can't actually hear the layers of vocals always, there's like maybe 40 tracks of vocals across the song. So there's plenty of vocals in there.
And I know, and that does make a difference. Can I ask you about anything at all? What's the story behind that?
I mean, that was probably my first attempt at a love song. With my first, it wasn't love, because I was like, at the time I was like, I definitely wasn't in love, but I had a relationship with someone and I was like, I like them, but it wasn't love. We were young and it wasn't love. So I think that was as close as I got to a love song at the time, with me reflecting on like what had happened. This was just after we broke up, and I was kind of just processing it. And I was sat there like, was it anything at all? I'm not really sure. And that's how that kind of song came about, really.
It was a long shot, we had a whole lot of differences, somehow we forgot until on the surface they came to show, and over time spent our lives in different directions. We had to let it go, but time went quicker than expected, and 1 week left everything in a different place. In the end it was for the best, but I've still got one question in my brain. It wasn't love, it wasn't anything that deep, no. But still I thought that I would be the one to leave. So I'm staring at you thinking, what changed it all? I know it wasn't love. Was it anything at all? Ooh, was it anything at all? Ooh. When it ended, it took a few days for me to try to put a name on it. Can you explain there's something that we had? Where words fail, we got melodies, but our differences, even when they're far, wasn't like a sudden change of heart. Because time went quicker than expected, and 1 week left everything in a different place. In the end it was for the best, but I've still got one question in my brain. It wasn't love, it wasn't anything that deep, no. But still I thought that I would be the one to leave. So I'm staring at you thinking, what changed it all? I know it wasn't love. Was it anything at all? Ooh, was it anything at all? Ooh, didn't mean anything to you. Oh, did your head and your heart follow through? Did it end how you wanted it to? I said I know it wasn't love, but I'm trying to find the truth. It wasn't love, it wasn't anything that deep, no. But still I thought that I would be the one to leave. So I'm staring at you thinking, what changed it all? I know it wasn't love. Was it anything at all? Ooh, was it anything at all? Ooh, was it anything at all? I know it wasn't love. Was it anything at all?
The Alpha Sessions with Ron Laver.
You've got an EP coming out in November, I believe.
Yes, so on the 8th of November, my EP is coming out. It's called Skyline. So the single that came out was the title track of the EP. But I've been working, there's a guy who lives in Seven Sisters area who I've worked with on this. I've been working with him now for a couple of months. And he's been producing and helped as well. We co-wrote some of the stuff, and he's been helping with everything on the EP. He goes by the name Half Rhymes. So
Great
that's
name.
A really good name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he christened with that by any chance?
Yeah, I don't think that's his real name, but
Great name. I love it. Alan, we've got to get some good names for each other. Okay, we're too boring. Okay, and the EP, how many tracks are going to be on it?
So it's 5 tracks. The 2 singles that I've got out, 2 more songs, and then there's a remix of the first single, which I'm very, very excited about because it sounds super cool. Like It's a proper dance remix. Yeah, and it was done by another friend of mine actually who lives in Leeds, but he wants to remain anonymous. He goes under the name Rhea West.
Rio.
Rhea
West. Okay. Well, he's not so anonymous now. Well, I guess.
Well, there's the name, but as in I can't say his real name.
Okay.
That's the.
Okay, I'll get it out of you later. Don't So, are you having a launch party for the EP?
Yes, so on the 8th of November, I'm doing a launch party gig at the Betsy Trotwood in Farringdon.
All right.
Doors are at 7:30, and tickets are online now for that. But if there's some left, they'll be on the door as well. And I've got two friends supporting as well, two really great musicians. Someone called Francesca Morris and Jacob Clark.
Right, yeah.
So it's going to be a very good gig.
Sounds like a good night, yeah. You talked about Jacob Clark.
Yes.
It's going to be at your launch party for your EP. You've collaborated with him before, I believe.
Yeah, so we've done quite a bit of writing together. One of my mates whilst I was studying at uni. And he's actually got a song, well, he's got a couple of songs out, which I would highly recommend checking out. But one of them, the latest one, is called Counting Kisses, and that's a song that we co-wrote. And yeah, it's online on all the major platforms now.
Okay, we'll definitely check that out. Might be someone we could think about having in as well.
I definitely recommend getting him in.
Okay. Dream collaboration then. It's one we like to ask people. If you could collaborate or if you could do a dream gig with anyone, someone that you admire, whatever, at a place you'd love to play at,
okay.
What, where and when would that gig look like?
Okay. Now, I know he's probably talked about all the time, but easily the dream collaboration, Ed Sheeran, Manchester Arena, hometown gig. Yeah, sometime in the next 4 or 5 years.
Okay. You've thought about that in the past,
well,
haven't you?
Everyone asks me like ultimate goals and ultimate dreams and things like that,
yeah.
and I'd always be like, collaborate with Ed Sheeran, play a gig at Manchester Arena. So if I could combine the two, that would be incredible.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
fantastic. Okay, so when you're not performing,
yes,
have you got any other hobbies? How do you relax? How do you?
Writing songs. I think maybe this is a slight musician's curse of all the time. Like the main thing that I do and enjoy is music. I go to gigs if I'm not playing them. I like write songs, but I mean other things I like. I love to travel. I like seeing new places. That's one of the benefits of being a musician is I feel like you get to travel it sometimes and do gigs in interesting places. Also, just like to read the odd book.
You get time for that, do you?
Sometimes. I think I need to make more time for it.
So if you're always writing, have you got a large sort of output, a lot of which gets put to one side and only the best get through? I
I write an awful lot, and actually a couple of years ago I set myself a challenge for like a New Year's resolution of writing a song a day, and that was kind of I guess the start of. I'd always written a lot before that, but that was like the real push for doing even more writing because then I was forcing myself on days when I wasn't going to write something. So by the end of that year, I'd written every day for the year. And then I kind of, because I'd got into that habit, I think it kind of spilled over into the next year a little bit. I don't necessarily write every day, but I do have a lot of songs that I think, or ideas even that I've started that sometimes I'm like, I should probably go back and look through them and find that,
because that's a lot of writing. That's a lot of material.
Yeah. Not all of it was great material, Sometimes you got to have the not so great stuff to get the good ones out.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, look, it's been a pleasure talking to you today, and wish you best of luck with the EP, released on the 8th of November. The EP title Skyline.
Yes.
Yep. And you've got that gig. Just remind us again where the gig was.
So that's at the Betsy Trotwood in Farringdon.
Okay. And if people listening want to find out more about you, where can they go on social media, etc.? So
I am at Jenem Music on Facebook and Twitter. So it's JENEM and then music and _music on Instagram. So Jenem _music.
Let's Start a Fire. Tell me about that.
So I was looking out my window, and my next door neighbours were in the garden, and they were playing with sticks and stones and stuff. And I'm not sure if I actually heard one of them saying, "Oh, we should try and start a fire," or if I imagined that. But they definitely looked like that's what they were trying to do, and it literally sparked the idea. Little fire joke there.
Very good. I got it. It's all right. I was with it.
Yeah, so that's where that came from, and then that grew into the fact I was thinking about, like childhood innocence again. I think that's a theme that actually crops up in some of my things, is just this idea of like when we're young, the innocence that we have, and how if we let things get in the way, we can quickly lose that.
That's a little bit harking back to your other song as well, isn't it? That we spoke about.
Yeah,
before.
exactly.
Yeah.
We'll let myself go, and even Skyline to some extent is like, well, that's more about the growth side of things. But yeah, I think it's just a topic that I maybe fall back on in terms of writing, just because I think that's kind of self-reflecting, but also more of a wider theme.
Okay, that's great. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Innocence is driven away too quick. We've got to hold on to it. Say we've got to hold on to it. Memories are all we have, from the present way back to the past. We've got to hold on to them, got to hold on to them. Wind back the clock, 'cause we reflect a lot on the days gone by. An empty mind, no faults to find. We can run around all day long, but now we see the time ticking, reminiscing on what is going. And they say, let's start a fire with sticks and a stone. Two girls in the garden, playing at home, gritting their eyes and their minds running wild. They say, let's start a fire and get it to light. Let's start a fire and watch as the flames as they rise to the heavens. Put it out and start again. And in 10 years' time, we're children of the road. They'll say, let's start a fire with sticks and a stone. Time, what is time when it's flying every minute? Minutes, what are minutes when your brain's consumed in it? And worries, what are they when you just run around with your friends and play? Time, what is time when it never seems to cross your mind? But now we see the time ticking, reminiscing on what is going. And they say, let's start a fire with sticks and a stone. Two girls in the garden, playing at home, gritting their eyes and their minds running wild. They say, let's start a fire and get it to light. Let's start a fire, watch as the flames as they rise to the heavens. Put it out and start again. And in 10 years' time, we're children of the road. They'll say, let's start a fire with sticks and a stone. Let's start a fire. That's what I did when I was a child, desperately wishing I was grown. But now, standing here all alone, wish that I could go back for a little while, back to being a child. And they say, let's start a fire with sticks and a stone. Two girls in the garden, playing at home, gritting their eyes, their minds running wild. They say, let's start a fire and get it to light. Let's start a fire and watch as flames as they rise to to the heavens, put it out and start again. In 10 years' time, the children of the road will say, let's start a fire with sticks and stone. Let's start a fire with sticks and stone. They say, let's start a fire with sticks and stone.